Another team that's making its first visit to the NCAA tournament, as even though they won the conference now 2 years in a row for NJCU, New Jersey City. They won the conference this year as the 6th seed. They beat the 8th seed, TCNJ. They were playing at NJCU after everybody else knocked off everybody else. NJCU actually knocked off Montclair State to kind of start that steamroll in the NJAC. So earlier today, we got a chance to talk to Pat Devaney about it and how everything turned out from his perspective. Now joining us on the Blue Frame Technology Hoopsville Hotline, the head coach of the New Jersey City women's basketball team. It is Pat Devaney. Coach, first and foremost, thanks for taking the time. Secondly, congratulations on the title, even if it was a little bit more on the unexpected style.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for having me on here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Finished the season 13-9, 8-5 in conference play. You ended up being the 6th seed in the tournament, right? 4th seed?
Yeah, 6th seed.
6th seed, right. It was a little funky, as many years have been, many tournaments have been. And then the NJAC did what it kind of doesn't do. Usually the top seeds kind of prevail, especially at home, and we get the usual near the end. It wasn't that way. Montclair lost early and others lost early, and suddenly you guys work your way into the championship game after wins against Montclair State, aforementioned, beating them on the road, beating Rowan on the road, so that you got to host the championship game as a 6th seed. Wild and wacky probably doesn't really describe that well enough.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, to me, it feels like it's like a movie. I'm shocked that we were able to have a home game, being the 6th seed. So I feel like this was God just writing his own story for us, and it's just been an amazing journey and ride, and we're lucky and blessed to leave with a championship. Amazing.
Well, to some degree, not only did you guys have to commit all those upsets to get in that position, you needed the other side to commit upsets. And while the first couple of games went kind of status quo, it was TCNJ's upset of Kane that kind of started the ball rolling on that side. And then both of you defeated Rowan and William Patterson to set up the game at your place. So there had to be another partner in all this. And of course, it ended up being TCNJ. And again, just as kind of wacky, a 6th seed hosting the conference tournament game after 5 top teams got knocked out, including a couple by you and a couple by TCNJ. And then that game came down the end. You guys 58-52 win in the championship game. That was not certainly a game that was easy either. It was a heck of a run.
Yeah, I mean, TCNJ, they could shoot that ball. I mean, I think in the first half they had 32 points. 27 of those were from the 3. I think they shot 85% or 80% from the 3 in the first half. And that's how they got to the championship. They shot the ball very well to beat William Patterson. And to beat a TCNJ team that's on fire like that is just a testament to the kids that we have, the character that they have, and the grit that they portrayed.
Well, and also, too, their defense is tough. They held you guys to 58 points. You had scored 68. Then
I am listening. I'm just trying to get a couple of bits of business done.
Against Rowan. Now, TCNJ had an 85-point night, but they held Rutgers Newark to 54 in the tournament. So you had to kind of deal with their defense, which looks like it was pretty stout and tough as well.
Yeah, they played well defensively. They gave Damaris a hard time. They threw different looks at her. And they did what they needed to do to try to win the game. I thought they brought their A game, and it was a battle all night. I think we averaged 71 points a game. We lead the conference in scoring. So they did a great job in stopping our guards. Our bigs stepped up. Jamara Johnson, Lainey Fox played very well. Leah Allen played well. So we were able to have other girls step up, and then that's what really makes a team.
You have several players in double figures. You led by Damaris Rodriguez, as you pointed out, 21
Sorry,
points
guys.
a game.
I'm back in.
That
What's
game
up?
Against TCNJ, she got held to 11.
I went with Babson.
On 3 of 20
over Trinity
shooting, over 6 from deep. Was that because maybe she just had an off night? Was it because TCNJ was just that stellar, or was it a combination of both?
Truthfully, I think Damaris was forcing the issue a little bit during the game.
Even though the win-loss and SOS were basically wash?
Defensively, they were all over the floor, 50-50 balls they were getting. Okay. You could tell they really wanted to win that game.
Okay.
I just
want to be on the same page, understand where you're coming from.
Center, a 6'2" power forward, and Leah Allen and Jamara Johnson.
I forgot to
they
pay
really
attention
don't have
to
any
slack.
bigs, so we knew that if the guards were having off nights, that we had opportunities to go down low. And that worked out perfectly for us, as you see DeMar Johnson's stat line.
No, absolutely. By the way, 1 for 13 from deep for a team that shoots 33% can have you tear your hair out. But as you said, you have the inside presence. And you had Johnson had 12 points. You also got contributions from other players like Fox, as you mentioned, 16 points. Lily Allen coming off the bench with 7 points certainly was key in that forward position, and you took advantage of what you could get. But how much was it also trying to talk the team through it a little bit because things weren't going the way you wanted to in some areas?
Yeah, true. That's great that you brought that up. That's what I felt like I had to do all game. I had to get them out of their own head, because every time they missed a shot, they would look over at me in frustration. And basketball is a game of misses and makes. So I told them, just stay the course and just keep playing the game. The shots are not falling, then get to the rim. Try to get some layups, try to get to the free throw line, see the ball going from the free throw line. And we wound up doing that towards the end of the game. We wound up getting them in foul trouble. We win the bonus, I think, with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So that was definitely positive to be in that situation right there.
How much was playing at home a part of that? Because it was the first ever home title. From what I heard, the place was a little bonkers as well. How much did that play a contributing factor, and how much do you think it helped your team in the end?
Oh, that was the biggest factor, by far the biggest factor. I think on the sheet it said there was 130 something people there. It had to be at least 500 people there. It was packed, and the girls couldn't hear me. I couldn't really hear them when they were talking to me. That's how loud it was, and truthfully, that was the difference of the game.
Back-to-back conference championships. Last year having a conference championship in the COVID year, so you didn't get the NCAA tournament. This is now a punch to the NCAA tournament, and that's the first ever in program history. Pat, you were brought in after, let's say that, to be honest, the program was in a bit of shambles. A 1-23 season in 2016, a 4-21 in 2017, 0-21 in 2018, 5-20 in 2019. We know about the fight. We know about the tough roads that this women's program had kind of dug themselves into. You were brought in. You knew what you had to do. You at least had to turn the boat around. Whether it was conference championships is another conversation, but you at least had to get this program heading in a better direction. You've made a quick impact, again, back-to-back conference championships, and first ever, again, program history ever, NCAA tournament. Was that any of this on your radar when you took over a few years back?
Yeah, I was an assistant coach from 2012 to 2015. And before that, I was at St. Patrick's High School with Chris Vaness coaching the boys. Me being alumni from NJCU and coaching the girls team, I knew that if we got the talent in Hudson County to stay home, if we got the talent in Essex County to come to us and stay here, that we could really be one of the best. And when I was an assistant, we were getting those kind of players. And then I put in for the job in 2015 after Amy Mulligan resigned. I wasn't lucky enough to get the job at that time. And then God willing, I wound up getting in 2018 when Sean Tucker got the AD job. And I feel like this was all God's plan and God's work. And I just try to pay it forward and just do the right thing by God.
5 wins your first season, obviously taking over a program that was in shambles, then 13 immediately in that second season. 9 last year in the COVID year, hard to gauge what that really means, but then 13 again this season. But more importantly, just 9 losses and that conference title and that NCAA tournament berth. It's certainly been a tremendous turnaround, maybe even stealing some of the attention and spotlight from the men's program that certainly got a lot of it over the years. At this point, it's house money, I'm assuming, but you're heading to the NCAA tournament. You don't know where yet. You don't know who you'll face. But just the fact you're there has got to be significant for this program, that no matter how this ends, you're still on cloud 9.
Dave, truthfully, I want to win it. I mean, we played
Sure.
toughs. We played toughs. We played the best of the best. We played Amherst. We lost by 4 to Tufts. I didn't coach that game. We lost by 4 to Amherst at Amherst. And truthfully, I think we have a great team. I think we have a great shot at this. If these girls keep gelling, first half of the season, we didn't even have 10 players. We weren't able to scrimmage. We didn't have 10 until January, until we brought 2 kids in. So now is the right opportunity to start gelling and play well. And I think that we could really make waves in this tournament.
Well, and this team has gone through the COVID rigors. You pointed out you weren't there for the Tufts game. You guys lost a couple of games early in January, including in conference play, due to COVID reasons. You also had that come back to yourself in the game against Rutgers and Camden. But how tough has that road been earlier in January? Because, to be honest, who knows how that was going to impact you? Technically, it made you the 6th seed. You didn't know how the season was going to play out from there. How hard is it to get through that and now to be on the other end?
It was hard. It was hard because one of my players really, she took it hard on herself. She thought that she was the reason why we had to forfeit the 4 games. It was a false positive. She had 1 positive, then went to her doctor, wound up getting 2 negatives. Girl wasn't sick, but we had to abide by the positive, and she took it bad. And I just told them, just stay positive. Good things will happen if you stay positive. And that's what they did. They just stayed positive. They fought, all season. They never gave in. They understood, the goals ahead that they could attain. And it's just been a blessing. These kids are great kids, and they're a family.
Tell me a little bit about the team. We talked about a few of the players, obviously, in Rodriguez, Davis, Fox, et cetera. But just tell me, you talk about family. Tell me how this team gels. Tell me how this team comes together and how they play on the floor normally.
Yeah, these kids, they go out to eat together. Usually some teams, they go their own way after practice. These kids hang out together. They go over each other's houses. We have a basketball house, so the girls go over there and they hang out with each other. These kids, they're in early, working out early. They were coming in 6 o'clock in the morning, working out with Kenny Britt, who's our strength and conditioning coach, former NFL player.
Yeah.
So these kids really, they're putting in the work. And one thing about them, they love each other. They fight for each other. And they like each other off the court. And that really is what's making us gel at the right time, just liking each other, being around each other.
How important, too, is it to get a win over on Montclair State in the tournament and beat these teams that have been at the top of the conference for so long?
Yeah, I mean, a Karen Harvey coach team, a Demetrius Poles coach team, Rowan's always good. Montclair's always good. So to even beat those teams, it really helped us get this championship because it made them really start believing in themselves. You could tell the kids, hey, this is what you could do, this is what you could do. But when it's actually done and they actually see it and they go through it, then that's when the believing really kicks in, and then you feel it, and then the energy just starts going through the roof, and you start feeling their energy. And it's great. It's great at NJCU right now. The energy is through the roof, and I think these girls finally believe in themselves, and they finally believe in what they could really do, the bigger picture.
Well, congratulations again on not only the NJAC title, because you did that last year, but getting to the NCAA tournament. I know that was a step that everybody wanted to see happen, and considering where everything had been, it's a pretty impressive one to say the least, including wins, as we mentioned, over Montclair and others. We always give the coach the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those who may be tuned in?
No, I just want to let everybody know Division III hoops is basketball. It's good basketball. We get a lot of kids that think that D3 is just some garbage basketball. It's great basketball, and it's great basketball all around. So just stay tuned to D3 basketball.
No, well said, sir. I completely agree with you. Good luck, especially on the recruiting trails. I'm fascinated to see how this will turn out for the rest of the way. But good luck also in the NCAA tournament. Look forward to seeing where the Gothic Knights will be playing and how you end up doing. And we'll look forward to talking to you down the road.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate what you do for D3, man. It's amazing. You guys are awesome.
Well, thanks, Pat. I really appreciate that. Take care, and we'll talk. Thanks to Pat Devaney for joining us on the show. Appreciate it. Pat Devaney. Oh, my Lord. There's an old school name. Pat Devaney for joining us from NJCU. Again, back-to-back conference championships, but first ever NCAA trip. Congratulations to them as a 6th seed in that conference. Pretty impressive. We'll see where they go. They are a bit of fodder for another team. So they're going to get a tough first-round matchup. But as he pointed out, they played some really good teams really tough this year, including Amherst and others. So they're not going to be an easy out in the tournament. We'll be looking forward to seeing what that program can put together. We'll take another break.